So this is video number 3, and I'm gonna close this. Now I'm gonna show the process of using the mood board with its smart objects to work off of and create the actual final project. And what do I mean by to work off of the mood board? Why would I work off of the mood board when everything is like thumbnails, right? So generally, yeah, you wouldn't do that because they're shrunk down and the image quality is compromised when you make it bigger again, generally. But the fact that that they're smart objects, they're all self-contained. The data is not compromised because of the fact that they are smart objects, and they were smart objects before they were scaled down. Because again, if they were scaled down and then converted to a smart object, there's no point. There's no point to doing any of it because it lost its quality already. Anyhow, so let's say I choose this, right? I choose this as my main backplate, meaning that I like this because everything's inside. I have side walls. I have an opening that I can put in a sky and background, midground, background, sky, all of that. And this is why this is gonna be my main plate. It doesn't mean that yours too also needs to have a hole, but depending on the situation, right? Maybe this could be the main plate, this image, or one of the main plates, because it's like foreground, For example, like this wouldn't be the main plate. This is more of a secondary object. Yeah, I mean, it all depends, but for the most part, you have to choose wisely. So this here, I'm gonna use this. So what do I mean by I'm gonna use this? Well, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab it, right? It's a smart object, file, 1 second. So once I decide on this, right, in here, cave 4, I'm gonna double click it in here, the smart object, to go inside of the smart object. Double click. Here we are, we're inside of it. See, if you see, for example, PSB, right, that means you're inside of it, because typically it's going to be PSD. See, this is PSD, this is PSB. There's a difference. And as you can see, I already applied several things to it ahead of time. But even if I didn't, anyway, what I'm going to do is this, where this here, right, where I had previously double clicked and I'm in here, I'm going to save this file, save as, file, save as. I'm going to save it as a Photoshop document, not a PDF, Photoshop, PSD. I'm going to name it Cave Main Plate. And instead of saving to the temp folder, I'm going to save it to my apocalypse theme folder, that folder where I had originally collected the images. So I named it Cave Main Plate, PSD as in David. That's under Save As, Save. And now this is its own file. See, it doesn't say PSB as in Bob anymore. It says PSD as in David. It's its own plate. That's what I mean by that. It's a very effective flowing workflow. See, as long as you made it into a smart object. So here we are. This is going to be my new main plate. So as such, I'm going to hide all of that. So this is the main one. These are the little extras I did. You know, what I can do is just kill it off for now, right? Those extras that I made ahead of time. So here we are. This is baseline, right? And this is my main plate, cave entrance. And like I mentioned, since this is my main plate, right, I'm gonna go ahead and convert this to a smart object, because, you know, now before, you know, when it was here, it was a smart object. If I click on it, see, that's its own file. This and this, they're different. That's why I'm showing that. You know. So this is why cave main plate.psd, I'm turning it into a smart object to self-contain it and whatnot. Then what I'm going to do is, like I said in here, all right, we did that. You know, there's several things I have to do. For example, soften the edges. We already made it into a smart object. Apply a layer mask. After the layer mask, soften the edges. So here we are. We have the smart object. So then after that, what I can do is grab it, and then I can apply this. Come on. Layer mask. See? And there's our trusty little white box. I select it. I can go in, right? Press B as in Bob. Use the left and right or right bracket to make the brush, or left bracket to make the brush smaller, like this. Make the hardness at 0. Everything else is default, 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 default. Opacity 100, flow at 100. This is set to black. And then with black ink or black color, B as in Bob, select here, and then to kind of filter out this area, before I even do that though, applying the layer mask, there's something else. Right. So let me get rid of this, right? The layer mask. I want to soften these edges. And typically I could do it with the layer mask, but there's little feathering areas due to grass, right? It's very intricate, right? And there's a lot of irregularities. So what you do is, here it's a smart object. I hold Control and I click in here because there's a hole in here. If there's no hole in here, that this extra little trick doesn't really work, right? You'd have to use the object selection to select certain areas to make it to start feathering it and put layer mask. But I don't want to confuse students more. I select it. All right. Again, this is per situation, and I want to soften this hole. Right. I hold Control. I'm gonna, while I'm holding Control, left click in here. That gives me this little selection set, like that. Then instead of doing this, I mean, I could, right? See that little hole? And then maybe I can do this, like that. I mean, I could do this, right? Sort of. But I want to not do that. So with the little marching ants, right? 1 second. Let me do it one more time. Here's my marching ants all around. All I want to do is press, for example, L for lasso, and then select end mask. which brings us here. I'm going to zoom in holding the Alt and mouse scrolling. And then first thing I'm going to do is change this to new layer with layer mask. And then I'm going to start feathering. Maybe what, 5 pixels? See? I can zoom in using the little magnifying glass here. I can do like 5 pixels. And then maybe just look around. Yeah, this part kind of don't like. Hold Alt key to kind of zoom out. Space bar, hold it to a pan. Maybe instead of 5, maybe 4 pixels. Shift edge as well. This is the reason why I wanted to use this method, going through inside of it in here. Yeah, you have more ways to tune it. So shift edge plus 15, plus 20, feather at 3, holding the space bar to kind of pan. Maybe I can smooth it. Plus 10. Hold the space bar, pan around. Hold Alt to zoom out. Hold space bar to pan. Click in. Just looking here. See whatever I can do to make broad strokes of wiping out this area to be less crisp and sharp. Give it a blur. So there's gonna be more to do afterwards, but maybe if I shift edge only plus 10. And this thing is kind of slow, so you have to give it a moment. Maybe feather at 5. Instead. Four maybe. Yeah, I think 4 will be okay. Why did I put smooth at 0? Smooth. I saw something move. Ooh, I don't like this. This is weird. Yeah, I'll leave it at what? 5? Maybe 5 only. Yeah, 5 is all good. So that radius at 5. Smooth at 15. 50. I like that radius though. At 5 pixels. Because the drop off, fall off is more manageable. Because if I put the radius at 0, see, versus 5 versus 10, yeah. But the grass though, maybe I'll make it. I want to balance between this and this. Feather at 5. And the radius at 10. Maybe radius at 5. 15. Smooth at maybe 25 instead. Something like that. Perhaps. Radius at 10. Alright, so something like that. Shift edge, maybe just +5 instead. Yeah. Some blur there. Anyhow, so just enough blur there too. Right. Because I have to go back in and do some touch up anyway. But at least I get a baseline blur. Alright, so I got like what? Radius of 10. And then smooth at 25. Feather at 5. Shift edge. And then new layer mask. Hit OK. There. See? And I got just enough feathering. Probably have to do some more later. But at least have that. So that's what I mean by regarding the edges. And then before I close it, let's say if I grab a sky, or not a sky. Should I show that part? Let me go back here. I don't want to go too far. Now I also mentioned about regarding exposure, photo filter. Let's go for photo filter. So I'll name this original, and then I'm just gonna lock it so I can always go back to it in case. Cave entrance. Okay, and then go in and layer. Let me select it first. Layer, new adjustment layer. Let's say photo filter. Create a clipping mask, so that this clipping mask means that whatever this photo filter is, it will only apply to this image, nothing else underneath the layer stack. Turn this on, hit OK. If I turn this off, on, off, on, see? I want to give like 40% on the photo filter. You know, maybe, you know what, just give it 50 then. Photo filter. Then select this layer, new adjustment layer. Let's say exposure, check it on, and then exposure like this much. Gamma correction. See, gamma correction does something neat as well. See what it did? Super powerful. And it doesn't blow out the scene. Even with exposure of plus 0.09. See, I gotta do like that, or maybe just 0. Right? 0 is a baseline. See, exposure is very powerful. Maybe I'll just put this at 0. See all that data, and it brightened this up too. Maybe I'll just make the exposure give more kick, the brightness on that. Alright, so that's what that is. And then since I want some fiery red, layer, new adjustment layer, another photo filter, clipping mask, OK. Instead of warm filter 85, what is this? No, 81, red, or deeper. red. Yeah, deep red. So you know, it's not just yellow photo filter, but photo filter 2, which is red. And then I could even name it, which wouldn't hurt. Red photo filter orange. There, all of that stacked together. Like so. Alright, so that's already 20 minutes. And then we'd have to also go in and just to touch it up a bit more, because the main plate is super important. Here, press B as in Bob. Black color for the brush. Brush into the layer mask, non-destructive. Whatever I have going on here, I wanna do it some more, because I just know already that it's gonna need some more. So I can go in here to here. I click once, I hold shift. While holding shift, I click here. See, it follows the line. But before I even do that though, what I want to do is this, because it's hard to gauge things right now. There's nothing behind, and it's already been 21 minutes. Maybe I'll just leave it like this for now. Yeah, I'll just leave it like this for now, and that way it's only 20 minutes long, and I almost cover everything regarding the main plate. Yeah. Okay, I'll leave it like this, and then the next video I'll go over the other things like the sky and foreground, background props, characters, and all of that. Okay, bye.